My brothers and sisters in Christ, in our gospel passage last Thursday, Jesus lamented that how often the Father desired to gather the people of Jerusalem under the protection of his wings, but they would refuse. And this theme comes about again in today's gospel as Jesus continues his dinner discourse with the Pharisees that we've been following since last Friday. Today, after yesterday's gospel, we heard Jesus, tell the listeners to not follow social posturing and to invite people to dinner on a basis of scoring points and the like, but to invite the crippled and the lame, those who can't pay them back. And so here he made an image to the heavenly banquet. And today's gospel starts with one of the hearers of this exclaiming, that blessed be that person that will come to this great dinner. And so Jesus responds not with a good, you got it, but a very difficult teaching, and one that is aimed clearly at his listeners, who he's been critiquing for their hardness of heart, for their great arrogance, but it's one that is just as easily directed at us. Here, Jesus gives the parable of the wedding banquet that the king has prepared, and that as the invitations go out, everyone sends their excuses why they can't attend. And interestingly, amongst the list of reasons given, they're all at face value legitimate. In fact, the Torah had an excuse or a clause. The Torah allowed for exemption from military service for each of these reasons. So for this piece of land, or in the first year of marriage and the rest, you were exempted from the requirement of the state to do it. But of course, the invitation of God is something that trumps all of these things. This is something so much greater than just military service. And so everything all that God has directed his people is towards him gathering them into his house. And yet now the invitation is refused. People have lost sight of what the point of things is. And so now for these minor reasons, the great invitation is refused, and God the Father is greatly angered. So while this is clearly a critique leveled at the Pharisees again for their refusal to accept the gospel, it is directed easily at us. For how often do we let the little things get in the way of the big picture? For example, how often do we come up with excuses for either why we can't attend Sunday Mass at all, or how much do we groan and complain by the inconvenience of the schedule or the length? We look at the Sunday schedule, and I remember back when I first got to the cathedral coming out of COVID, the Mass schedule was being revised to condense the schedule, and kept putting feelers to the different groups of all the various options and combinations of Mass times. And all of them, understandably, had certain objections or different reasons why this was good, this one that wasn't good. But lost in all this was that many of these things, while practically relevant, in the big picture aren't. So would hear excuses, this time of Mass is best for doing this, and then having this meal time, and this is too early for my kids to be up, but too late to feed my kids at this time. And then, of course, there's when is the football game, and my kid has sports in the afternoon, and then there's homework, and I have to catch, the list goes on and on and on. And all of these things are perfectly understandable in their own right. But then we lose sight of the forest for the trees. And we think of those in the third world that will walk for hours to find a way to go to Mass. They so hunger for the Lord that they have nothing, and their focus is on that which is most essential. While we, like the Pharisee at the beginning, will say, yes, blessed is the one who comes to the great banquet of heaven. Yes, I'm Christian. Yes, I want to go. And then when God presents himself, we suddenly have better things to do, or the way he presents himself is inconvenient to us. And so, while there is much in our life that demands our attention, and I'm not making light of that at all, we can't lose sight of the one thing that gives the rest of it meaning. Our whole life is handed over to God. If we do not respond to his summons, to his invitation, what is the point of anything else? And so, indeed, blessed be us who receive the invitation to the great banquet. May we be sure to answer yes and make haste to show up. May God bless you all.